Burnouts, we are back. It is a new year. It is a new podcast. Not really, just a new episode of the same podcast, but we are happy to be here. We are recording here a little later than I would have expected, but it was New Year's Eve last night. We stayed up. We took in the new year together, watched the clock count down. We saw the University of Miami win a playoff game, which was exciting too, right before the new year. So great way to end the year. Feeling good, great way to start the year. I do want to say this isn't typical for my intros, as I normally cover the things that I will be talking about, which, just so you know, mostly Heat-related stuff, some NBA All-Star, MVP-related stuff, but mostly the upcoming Heat games, 3 coming up before the next recording. But I did want to say thank you all who have been listening, who have been watching, who have been sharing, commenting, interacting, all of that. There's been considerable growth while it's still small throughout all of the different platforms that I put these out on, and I'm just very appreciative of all of it. And I truly didn't expect for anything as I started recording these. I thought I was just going to be shouting out into the ether, and while sometimes I definitely am, other times I am shouting out to other people who are either upset at my opinions or happy with my opinions, or a mix of both, and I appreciate all of it nonetheless. So thank you all for listening. We're going to get into all the fun stuff, all the Heat-related stuff, all the NBA stuff, and kicking off this new year with a banger. Just make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, keep commenting, keep doing all that and more. We'll get into it after this. All right, so we are recording here Thursday, right before, or not right before, but a few hours before what will be Miami's second meeting against the Detroit Pistons. But before we jump into that, while it was last year, a whole year ago, that we did play against the Nuggets, I did want to quickly talk about that game, just to cover off some of those bases. The biggest takeaway is the Jokic injury, so I'll save that for last. I'd be remiss not to mention it at the top, though. But just want to quickly say that the Heat had another 140-point game. They're on pace to set the record for the most 140-plus point games in a season if they continue to do this. We had 8 guys in double digits this game, so another, equal opportunity win. Wiggins had the game high plus minus, again, playing with the second unit a lot. He had 3 steals and 2 blocks in this game, which was just pretty exciting. I'm sorry, 3 steals and 3 blocks. Don't mean to discount you there, Wiggs. 19 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. He made 4 of his threes, 4 of 7. Just great game from Wiggs. Great game all around from the team. Jaime set a career high for assists this game after all the talk about Jaime not passing the ball enough. And funny enough, I mean, a lot of those assists were really simple, not the most beautiful or intricate passes, just kind of passing out after the defense collapses in on him and people were scoring. People just made their buckets this game. I did mention that he had second most potential assist on the team. So, he was averaging 4 assists a game with, I believe, around 9 potential assists a game. He went to 11 assists this game. So that's just what happens when some of those potential assists are actually realized. And when your team shoots 47.8% from 3, just absolutely scorching from 3 this game. And one of the people who was scorching was Nikola Jokic, who, happy to see him have another good game to stack on top of these past few good games in a row since he came back from injury. He mentioned in his post game that he's after the injury and during the injury that he realized he needs to stop treating basketball as a hobby, as just something he loves, and as a job. It's his profession, and it's kind of changed his work ethic, I guess, and the way he approaches the game. We'll see. It's just words. Little concerning to hear what he was doing before, what he's doing now, I guess, but he's still, like I've said, he's 22 years old. He's still very young, and if it was just a shift in the mental to make him play differently, and I mean, from what all we could see, it did seem like a lot of his issues were on that front. He's always had the talent. It's just been able to, the ability for him to string it together has been lacking. So hopefully he can put those pieces together and continue to show up game after game. I don't expect him to shoot 5 of 8 from 3 every game, or even 7 of 12 from the field necessarily, but just him being able to push the pace and continue to play and continue to facilitate the offense as well has been wonderful for us. Also, during the post game, Bam did mention that he's loving this double big lineup with Kalal, even though the net rating and all those actual, the data behind it isn't great yet, especially, I mean, a lot of that's coming from pre-injury Bam. And last season, it was actually fine. Last season, that lineup was working. But this season, we've yet to see some great numbers from it, but it does seem like it's doing a little better. Bam didn't play that much this game as it was a blowout. And also, I think he's still working himself back from injury. Only 21 minutes from Bam, but he just mentions the utility, the leeway it gives him to be able to take a break on defense from guarding fives and to be able to switch around with Kalel to guard a perimeter defender and just Spo mentioned they need to emphasize physicality when we have two bigs out there. If we're going to play two bigs, then make it physical, make it be felt. So we hope that we can continue to see some growth there from that unit. We're continuing to see growth from Kalel Ware, that's for sure. He's 3 of 6 from 3 in this game, 8 of 12 from the field, 19 points, 9 rebounds. And some of those rebounds were really nice, just like over the top of other players, just really taking advantage of, his height that he has been given. So love to see that from Ware, love to see the activity levels. I did want to take a quick moment to shout out too. I had question marks about whether or not his shooting would continue, his 3-point shooting. I've always thought he would be at least a serviceable floor spacer. His mechanics look fine. They've always looked fine. But right now, I mean, again, it's going to come down. In December, Kalel Ware is shooting 54.8% from 3. That's 23 of 42 from the field. That is the highest 3-point percent in the NBA for December, with a minimum of 15 3-point attempts. So 15 in December is not that high. It's a pretty low bar of the minimum there. But nonetheless, for any player who's shooting threes, he is hitting them at the highest clip right now. In 25 minutes a game, 24.9 to be exact, in December, he is averaging 13.1 points a game, 10.4 rebounds, 1.2 blocks, 73% true shooting percentage. His shooting splits are 61, 55, and 83. So way above a 50-40 and almost a 90. So again, that's December. I'm still loving everything I'm seeing from him. We can't iterate enough or hit on enough just what the potential is there. It's tremendous to be able to have someone who can score the way he does, who is athletic in the way that he is, who can rebound, who can space the floor. So I'm loving everything I'm seeing, but I just want to brace for impact that I'm fairly confident in saying Kalel Ware will not average 54.8% from 3 for his career. If he even settles around 40%, that is spectacular. So just brace for impact here, guys. It might go down. There might be a week or two where he's shooting 20%. That is typical. That happens with shooters. Even the best shooters go through cold streaks. So I'm expecting that. Also, do want to mention too that a lot of this is not off the dribble. He is not someone yet who can really create his own shot, except for, putbacks are in a way creating your own shot because you're fighting for the rebound and scoring. But in terms of ball in his hands and creating a shot, that is not what he does. I think I read on Cooper Moorhead's notebook that he's averaging the least dribbles per score in the league right now, something to that effect. I could find that exact thing right now. Just brace for impact here. Give me a moment. We will look for it. Yeah. So Adebayo, this was the stat that Cooper Moore had. Adebayo averages 1.6 dribbles for every shot he takes. That's about league average, while Ware averages 0.2 dribbles per shot attempt. That is the third fewest in the whole league, behind Donovan Clingan and Rudy Gobert, for players who have attempted at least 200 shots throughout the season. So, filtered there a little bit because you can get weird stuff when you don't filter at all. But point being, those are two big bodies who don't necessarily, aren't necessarily known for their offensive game. Clingan has some signs there, from what I've been told, from what I hear. I don't watch all that much of Donovan Clingan, I will be honest with you. But yeah, I think that the ceiling is high for Ware, even offensively, but just want to keep in mind that he is not the kind of player who is making the offense himself. Not yet. Maybe we'll see that. Like I said, in summer league and in the preseason, there was a few different possessions where I saw him try to take players off the dribble, where he, they would bite on that pump of his and he would drive to the basket strong. I think that's a part of his game that will hopefully come alive throughout his career, but it has not come alive too much yet. And now for the elephant in the room. The Jokic injury. Apologies as I take a sip from unsponsored drink. Jokic, man, just in the moment, and I want to start with in the moment because we're obviously posting this or talking about this after we know the severity of the injury. It was really scary. Um, Jaime Jaquez backs down Spencer Jones, apologies. And Spencer Jones steps on Jokic's foot. The knee hyperextends there. You can kind of see that there's going to be a type of hyperextension in the knee there. Uh, Wording, the hyperextension apparently is just the like action, like it's what happened to the knee. It does not necessarily mean what the injury was. So at that moment, you don't know what's going to happen to this guy, and you're if you're a fan of the game, if you're a fan of the NBA, you're worried. This isn't a type of player who ever embellishes how injured he is. He was groveling in pain. It looked bad. It sucked the air out of the room. It happened there right at the end of the second half. It was the last possession of the second half, pretty much. Um, and yeah, man, it was just really scary to see. And I can't blame the Nuggets for coming out flat after this. When Jokic goes down, they're already down three starters in this game. You lose your fourth starter, who is the most important player by far on this team, the most important player in the league, the best player in the whole NBA. Again, and I'm one of the biggest Shea heads there is. I love Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I still think that Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA. Um, so yeah, I'm just happy that there doesn't seem to be a serious injury. It seems like the lowest on the timeline is 4 weeks. I think I read 4 to 6 weeks somewhere. Um, and he was able to walk on it, which, there's only so much you could take from that because sometimes players just like to tough it out, and he is one of those kind of guys. But 4 weeks is still, well, again, if you're a Nuggets fan, if you're a Denver fan, that's not the biggest deal. You are happy hearing that news because he is fine. He's going to be back. He should be back in full form. There's no reason to assume anything other than that. But it does have some implications for a couple of different reasons, just because one, the Western Conference is a bloodbath. And, 4 weeks of Jokic, I went and checked on their schedule. That means they miss 16 games, or Jokic will miss 16 games. One of those already happened. It was the Nuggets versus the Raptors. And they were able to win that game, which is incredible because they need to win. They need to take advantage of any of these games that they can win, because you're obviously not favored when you're missing this many starters. And even if they get all their starters back, you're not favored if you miss Jokic. He is that team. Um, and I just want to quickly see what did that look like in that game. It was a win by association. Yeah, Peyton Watson, 24 points. Jamal Murray, 21. Jalen Pickett, 10. Okay, cool. Good to see that they were able to take away. It was a low-scoring 106-103 win over the Raptors. So good job to them, but he's going to miss 15 more. Thankfully, it's not the toughest of stretches for them in terms of like them sliding in the standings. Right now, they are, looking at the West, they are 5.5 games back from the Thunder. Just using that as a reference point. I don't expect them to catch the Thunder. But the point being is that the seventh seed Suns are 9.5 games back. So there are only 4 games separating them and the Suns. There's only 6 games separating them and the Warriors at 11. And there's only 8 games separating them and the Grizzlies at 9th. So they could theoretically slide all the way down to the play-in if things go poorly in these next 15 games. So when you look at those games, they're playing the Cavs tomorrow. They're playing the Nets, the Sixers, so some little bit of leeway there. They're playing the Celtics. They play the Hawks. They play the Bucks, Pelicans. Again, like these are some games they can win in this rut here. Playing the Mavericks, which is a hard one depending on if AD is playing or not. They're playing the Wizards, the Hornets. Lucky there. Then they play the Lakers, the Wizards again, the Bucks, the Grizzlies. So in this stretch, there are quite a few games that are winnable, and that is good for them because they will need all of that. And they will need him back for the tougher stretch of games that comes a little bit later in the year. That comes, I think, post All-Star break, mostly for this team. So fortunate for them that is the case. Fortunate for them. The unfortunate side effect here, which is more on the awards side of things. So Jokic missing 16 games means that for the rest of the season, he could only miss one more game if he were to be eligible for any season awards. That's MVP, that's All NBA. Those are the only ones he's really eligible for that he would be going for. And there's been some discussion about this. I'm not like the first person to be talking about it, But it's just, I think they should have left this rule out or at least changed it a bit. I understand the idea was to encourage players to play. That's the goal, to not rest games they don't need to rest or to sit out for no reason. But uh, looking at the league, there only one MVP ever has played under 65 games in a full season, in lockout seasons, shortened seasons, for whatever the case may be. Obviously, there has been players who have won the MVP with less than that, but that's because they were shortened. In a full season, in an 82 game season, only one player ever has won the award with under 65 games, and that was Bill Walton in 1978, and he played 58. So still a decent chunk of games, but nonetheless, the voters know. The voters naturally filter for games. They are able to do this, but I think that it should be left to them to make this rule, to choose where they want to draw the line. So if a player is at the 63 game mark, but he is by far and away the MVP, and the next best player played 70, like, let them be the ones to choose. I don't know. I don't like the hard and fast line here. And I have seen some mention of dropping it to maybe 58 games, and that maybe only applying to all NBA. And while I think that's a little better, 58 games, because that affords you, just a bit more that you can miss here. I I do think it's weird if you only apply it to all NBA and don't also apply it to MVP, because even though this is super rare, we're talking about, random scenarios here. But again, if you're going to make a rule, you want to future proof it. If you do this, then in a season like this one, where Jokic, Giannis, Victor, and Luka all may miss the 65 game rule, so all those guys might not be eligible for MVP, but all of them might be eligible for all NBA. You could run into a scenario where your first team all NBA doesn't include the MVP. So let's say if Jokic, Giannis, Victor, Luka, and Shea happen to play 60 games. Well, guess what? Now that's your first team all NBA, and then someone else won MVP in their second team all NBA. I don't like that. So yeah, I think if there is going to be a hard and fast line drawn somewhere, I think it should apply to all of it, to both all NBA and MVP. 58 does seem a bit more friendly, but I am of the mindset that maybe just leave it to the voters, because either way, they were already voting with that in mind. So yeah, don't love that. That's all I'll do for that injury, and I hope he comes back at the beginning of that timeline. I hope he's able to make all NBA. I mean, he's played every game this season up until now, so hopefully he can make himself eligible for the awards, because he was having himself an MVP season. We were just talking about this in the last pod about his Christmas game and how he might have won the MVP that night if the Thunder aren't able to break away to 68 plus wins or 70 plus wins, So just wanted to get that off. Another injury that did happen this game, the Pella injury right at the beginning of the fourth quarter. So pretty much since Jokic got injured at half and it was a tie game there, and then Pella got injured at the fourth, that pretty much makes all things equal. That evens it out. I'm kidding, of course, but it was scary as a Heat fan, not because we were in risk of losing this game with Pella being injured, but more so just because we've seen how much of an impact Pella has on this team. So just scary to see him tweak his ankle again. He will be out for this Detroit Pistons game, but fortunately, the report said it's unlike the sprained left ankle he had where he was out for 5 games from December 9th to December 26th. The Heat said an MRI was not even required. So I think that he just maybe didn't travel to this Pistons game, and he should hopefully be back for the next 2 after that, which are against the Wolves and the Pelicans. I'm hoping. Maybe he'll only be back for the second one of those. It is a back-to-back. So fingers crossed here for Pella. We definitely need him. I'm sad he won't be in the Pistons game, because I really wanted this team to be mostly healthy going into this next game. But we'll jump into previewing the Pistons and the Wolves right after this. Alrighty. I did mention that we were going to preview the Pistons and the Wolves. Sorry, Pelicans, we're also previewing that game too. That is the next 3 games we have on the docket before I record again on Sunday night or Monday morning, depending on how I'm feeling. But nonetheless, those are the 3 games that will be happening. The Pistons is Thursday night, Wolves Saturday, Pelicans Sunday. Pistons, this will be our second game of 3 for the season. The last time we played them was a very, very close game, 138 to 135. This was on November 29th. This loss was kind of the beginning of Miami's streak of bad games that happened after this. So there's some bad memories associated with this, especially for other specific things that happened in this game. So we had that terrible first quarter. Without that terrible first quarter, we probably could have won this game. We scored 23, the Heat did, in the first quarter, and the Pistons scored 36. And then there was an insane comeback in the fourth where the Heat scored 44 and the Pistons scored 30. This was one of the embarrassing Jokic games where he just didn't look like he should be out there at all. He had 5 turnovers. He was a minus 15 in 10 minutes. Just a bad game from Jokic. This was a game where we had no Hero and no Jaime. I'm sorry, we did have Hero, which was one of the few we've had Hero for, but we had no Jaime. So they didn't have a fully healthy roster. And, while Jaime is not the star of the team, he's definitely been very important. And you're seeing that more and more and more in all these games. So it'll be interesting because now we don't have Hero, we don't have Pella, but we do have Jaime. The team is clicking a little bit better right now. Interested to see how they match up in this game. Miami currently has the 12th offense in the league, 3rd defense. Detroit has the 8th offense and the 2nd defense in the league, ranked. The net rating for the Heat is 2.9, and the net rating for the Pistons is 6.6. So they are a better net rating team than the Heat. They are a better team right now than the Heat. In that game specifically, Tobias Harris went crazy. He had 26 points. I don't believe that he's actually going to be playing in this game. Just check real quick. I looked at the injury report and didn't think to write his name down because normally I don't care too much about Tobias Harris, but he did play really well in that other game. He's day to day, so doubtful right now. Doubtful that he will be playing. Even though he had 26 points, he was a minus 14. He was on the court for that run that the Heat had, so I wouldn't read too much into that necessarily. Cade Cunningham, of course, 29 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds. He did have 8 turnovers. We did force quite a bit from him, and he was cold from 3 for this game. Duncan Robinson, 18 points. Bam had mentioned that he felt we had let Duncan Robinson get off a little easy, and we didn't attack him enough on defense. And I agree with you, Bam. Maybe we'll do more of that this game. The Pistons obliterated us in the paint. They had 76 points in the paint against us. That was embarrassing. Yeah, this wasn't a weird tale of two halves, tale of different quarters games where it was embarrassing and painful to watch. And then we had an incredible comeback in the fourth where the game was frankly what seemed like out of reach. But then in the fourth, Powell had 7 points. Tyler Hero had 11 points. He went 3 of 3 from 3 in that fourth quarter. And, we almost got the game back. We almost brought it back there, but we ended up losing. The Heat did. So looking forward, again, there's not much that has changed in terms of the statistical profile of this team. In terms of the Pistons offense, they attack the rim, they attack the paint. They have the 3rd highest rim frequency in the league, top 10 short midi frequency. At 58.5% of their attempts are, I think, at the rim. They don't take many threes. This is one of those teams that kind of breaks that rule that, like, people who don't really watch the league and they say, oh, everyone just does the same thing. They just run and dunk or shoot threes. There's no middies anymore. It's like, no, these guys don't really shoot threes that much. More than teams shot in the 90s, of course, but they break away from that profile. They don't necessarily have a great field goal percentage from anywhere, but that's the issue is they beat you up on the boards. They have the top 2 offensive rebound rate in the league. This is per cleaning the glass, so it filters out for garbage time. They have a 35.8 offensive rebound rate, which is just insane because that's over a third of missed shots a third of the shots that they miss, they get the rebound. That's crazy that you win the possession game that way. They get a lot of putbacks and they get a lot of fast break points because of their defense. Their defense is it's pretty good. They foul a lot, but they force a lot of turnovers, and that's what leads to this. They have the most blocks per game of any team in the NBA, 3rd most steals per game. They average 6.2 blocks, 10.1 steals a game. They don't allow a lot of fast break points. Weirdly enough, though, they're bad at transition off of live rebounds. That's probably, though, because they are crashing the boards for offensive rebounds. So if they're not able to get it when they crash, then you might be able to break away from them. So there's some hope there that if we watch the film, if Ware and Bam are watching film enough and are able to prevent those offensive rebounds, if they can get the hit ahead pass, get somebody in transition to score off of those rebounds. That's the hope there. Their defense allows a ton of short middies and corner threes. They're benefiting from some luck from three. They have a top three frequency in open 3-pointers. That's from no defender within 4 to 6 feet. And that's 18.8% of the threes that are shot against them are open. And teams are only shooting 35%. So that's kind of low from an open corner three. They are bottom 10 frequency in wide open threes, so 6+ feet from a defender, which it's still bottom 10 still means 20.6% of corner threes from them, or open or wide open threes from them. Rephrasing, their bottom 10 frequency from wide open threes. So 20.6% of threes that are shot against them are wide open, 6+ feet away from a defender, and teams are only shooting 36.6% on wide open threes. So there's, again, that's somewhat low for a wide open three. But this is where I said kinda on the luck. They are top 5 in forcing very late shot clock shots from three, and top 4 in forcing late shot clock shots from three. So there's a little bit of they might be just having a really strong defensive possession. It's a bailout three that's getting shot, or a tough three that's getting shot. So we'll have to see how that works in this game. Just some individual stuff here. I mean, we've talked about this, but Cade is having himself a season. He's 26.5, 6.2, 9.7 on the season, points, rebounds, assist. Jalen Duren is also having an incredible season, a candidate for most improved, 18.1 points a game with 10.8 rebounds, 6.6 of those being offensive rebounds. And Isaiah Stewart is, in the running for all defensive team. He's averaging almost 2 blocks a game at 1.9. And yeah, he's a defensive force out there. He's really strong. He makes himself felt. So this is going to be a tough matchup, as it always is. We'll see how it goes in our, weirdly injured roster with a different lineup we're going to be playing against them. Now, moving on to the Timberwolves game. This is interesting. So, again, Miami's 12th offense, their defense, 2.9 net rating. Minnesota has the 9th offense in the league, the 7th defense in the league with a net rating of 3.7. In their recent games, though, so in the last 2 weeks, their offense has been ranked 22nd. So their offense has been pretty bad in the last 2 weeks, but they've still been 7th in defense. So their defense has been holding up, their offense has not. So I wanted to look what games have they played recently. So they have this weird stretch where they lost to the Grizzlies, but then they beat the Thunder. Then they barely beat the Bucks, but then they lose to the Knicks. They have a close game against the Nuggets on Christmas where Ant was spectacular. Then they lost. Then they lose to the Nets, but then they blow out the Bulls. And then they get blown out by the Hawks. So there's been this weird pattern of them having an embarrassing loss and then having a really good win. So since they were just blown out by the Hawks, their last game was Wednesday. They won't be playing again until Saturday against the Heat. I'm a little scared that pattern continues where they got blown out, they have some rest, and they're going to come in and blow the roof off in Miami. We will see. I might have jinxed us here. Maybe I reverse jinxed it. That's the hope. This offense is very interesting. They're top 10 rim frequency, top 10 corner three frequency, but they're lowest from everywhere else. So it's like the modern offense. They attack the rim, they spread out to corner threes. The corner three accuracy isn't crazy. It's not bad, but just relative to the league, it's lower. So if they're getting them, it's still scary. We don't want to let them get too many of those. They have a top 11 accuracy at rim, top 6 from non-corner threes. So they don't shoot these that frequently, but from above the arc, they shoot pretty well from three. And they're lowish kind of everywhere else. They don't shoot well from midi for the most part. I think Ant does, but the rest of the team, not necessarily. They don't offensive rebound a lot, which is good for us. I am happy. I still get a little nervous about, even though Ware and Bam have cleaned up the rebounding quite a bit, still get nervous when teams are good offensive rebounding teams. They like to run out on steals. They play well in that, but they don't force necessarily a ton of turnovers. Their defense, on the other hand, they don't really allow threes. They just allow a lot of short and long middies, uh, and their bottom half at rim. So they allow some at rim shots, and but on the other hand, when they do allow at rim shots, the rim shooting is low for teams. They have Rudy Gobert, as you know, for all of his faults, for all of his issues. When Rudy Gobert is guarding the paint, teams don't shoot necessarily that well at the rim. But teams do shoot well at short mid from them. So if you stop a little early, you get that little floater game going, maybe a little push shots, maybe some step throughs. We can do some stuff there. Uh, the corner three shot, however, even though they don't allow them that often, is good when teams do get it off. So if we do get these bailout corner threes, then hopefully they're going in. They do foul a decent amount on defense, and they do allow quite a bit of offensive rebounds. They're bottom 10 in the league in allowing offensive rebounds. And their transition defense is pretty good. It holds up. So not necessarily going to be beating them off the break all that much. And I will say that part of that isn't just Rudy Gobert. Part of that is Anthony Edwards, who is genuinely one of the best guard defenders when he's locked in, when he's kind of feeling himself in the game. His block rate is high. So is Jaden McDaniels. So they have these two, good smaller defenders out there who are strong. As far as Ant goes, I mean, yeah, he's having quietly, I want to say, a great season. 29.1 points a game, 5 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 1.5 steals, and almost a block a game, 0.9. And his splits, he's shooting 57.2 from 2, 39.8% from 3, and then the free throw percentage is a little low at 81%. So almost a 50-40-90, except the free throws kind of holding him back. But a great season for Ant, and you always got to be worried about him. He is just a spectacular player who seems to continue to get better every year, and who's young. Julius Randle also quietly having a great time with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Maybe it was a good trade for them. Maybe it worked out. I don't know. Too soon to tell, right? But he's 22 points a game, 7 rebounds, 5.5, 5.8 assists, and he's one of the higher plus minuses on the team. There is some weird stuff there. I think Ant is negative in the plus minus right now for that team. So there's maybe some wonky data that comes in from specific game logs there. But yeah, they have a strong roster. Don't think it's the strongest roster they've had in years, and I think their point guard is still a point of problems for them. I know they've been running a lot of Bones Highland and hoping for some of that. So we'll see if that's able to hold up, if their offense is able to really hold up against us. Like I said, last 2 weeks has them at the 22nd ranked offense in the league. That could be a blip, or it could be them trending a little lower now with just a bit lower offense. I wouldn't expect for them to stay at 22nd ranked offense in the league, but maybe they're not actually the 9th best offense in the league. Maybe they're somewhere in the middle. Maybe they're just a middle of the pack offense. Nonetheless, excited for this game just because always exciting to watch Anthony Edwards play basketball. He also has a relationship with Bam, relationship with Coach Spo. So, curious to see if there's any on the court interactions or off the court interactions there. Recruiting Ant to the Heat. The Heat always photoshopping jerseys. We lead the league in Photoshop jerseys, probably. Yeah, well, Lakers probably lead the league in Photoshop jerseys. We're top 5 though, for sure. Heat are, and hoping and wishing for players to come to our team. But I'm feeling confident about this game, especially if Pella is back. If we have most of our roster minus Hero, maybe Hero, I don't know. There hasn't been really a lot of updates about that. But if we have most of our roster, I'm feeling decent about this game. I think Ware can have himself one. I think Jaime and Jovic, if they're going to continue to play that the way they've been playing, then is a different team completely with Jovic shooting the ball the way he is. So the next game after this is the Pelicans. It's a back-to-back, so a little bit of a trap there. You never like back-to-backs, but they are both at home. I'm fairly certain. Yeah, both at home. The Pelicans, one of the worst teams in the NBA. They have the 24th ranked offense. They have the 27th ranked defense. Their net rating is a minus 7.1. That's not good. They do play with some pace, so this might be a fast-paced game here between the Heat and them. And they are the 3rd worst team in in a bunch of these stats. They're 3rd worst in allowing fast break points. They're 3rd worst in allowing points in the paint, and they're 2nd worst. No, I'm sorry, 3rd worst in also allowing opponent second chance points. So they allow a lot of putbacks. They allow a lot of points in the paint. They allow a lot of fast break points. It's going to be a run and gun game. It's going to be fast. We're going to see a lot of hit ahead passes. I'm expecting to see Wiggins, Powell, Jaime attacking the rim relentlessly. Maybe even Jovic, I hope, running through some guys. That would be fun. And Bam. Maybe Bam will, by this point, kind of recovered fully from the injury and see him in his full form again. But yeah, again, this isn't a team that's that good. Their defense is terrible. So let's just hope that we can keep them off of, hope that our defense can hold up and keep them from scoring too much on us, and that we don't have some sloppy turnovers or things of that nature. Um, in the last 2 weeks, their offense has been the 18th ranked offense. So their offense has ticked up a little bit. They've been playing a little better. And their defense has been ranked 23rd. So slight tick up there too, but not good. They had a 5-game win streak a little while ago against the Blazers, the Bulls. And then they beat the Rockets. Then they beat the Pacers. And then they beat the Mavs. So, the Rockets win is probably the most impressive there. I didn't check to see, honestly, I didn't check to see too much about this because it's the Pelicans and they're not good. But curious to see if they beat the Mavs with Anthony Davis or not. Zion is back. He has been back. He was coming off the bench for a little while. I do believe he is now starting for them. Currently, the minutes with him and Derek Queen haven't been good. So curious to see if they could find a way to make that fit. With our luck, this will be the best game of Zion and Derek Queen on the floor together. Herb Jones is out for them in this game, and he's been pretty important for them. And DeJounte Murray is still injured. He's been out the whole season. So just wanted to mention that off the top, that those guys will be out most likely. Well, Murray for sure. Herb Jones probably. Their offense, when you come into the nitty gritty here, they, weirdly enough, and maybe this is the issue, they have one of the worst offenses in the league, but they have the number 1 at rim frequency. Bottom 10 everywhere else. So truly all they do is attack the rim. 43.4 possessions of the New Orleans Pelicans are them attacking the rim. That's 43.4% of the shots they take are at the rim. They do this a lot off of assist. They do have a very high percentile of assisted scoring for Zion, for Queen, for Sadiq Bey. Their accuracy is bottom 4 from everywhere except the corner 3. That's the middle of the pack there. So even though they're attacking the rim constantly, they're not actually scoring at the rim all that much. They're just attacking it. So yeah, they don't make shots from most places. Bottom 4 percentile from everywhere except corner 3. This is mostly a half-court offense team. They do run off of steals, but they don't necessarily score that well on them, as we're seeing. And they don't turn over the ball too much, and they do draw some fouls. So there's some signs of life there on their offense. Their defense, again, this is just not good. A lot of not good stuff here. They're 30th in allowing corner threes. They allow a ton of those. They're 26th in allowing non-corner threes, ton of those. 26th at allowing people to shoot at the rim. But this is like the opposite of what you want your defense to do. While they allow corner threes, non-corner threes, and rim shots, they do not allow short middies or long middies. They are number 1 in the league at preventing mid-range shots. You're doing something wrong here, guys. You might have things a little backwards. And I know that's a product of, it's not their scheme, that they're number 1 in not allowing short and mid-range shots because teams are getting to the rim and teams are getting threes on them. So they're not taking those middies, not necessarily their defense smartly preventing mid-range shots. Teams haven't shot that well from corner 3 against them, I would know. I mean, still good enough, but I'm not looking into the luck statistics or luck stuff here. It's middle of the packish. Like, it's not like they have an outlier where they, are the best team at corner 3 opponent percentage lowering. It's middle of the pack. They don't necessarily allow a ton of fast break points. They're bad at transition off of live rebounds. Oh, I'm sorry. That's faulty data. Ignore that. They also allow a ton of offensive rebounds. They're 31.4% of missed shots are allowed to be rebounded by the opponent. This is bottom 3 in the NBA. They get some steals. Some of that's a product of pace, and they don't foul a lot on defense. Zion is averaging on the season 22 points, 22.7, 5.8 rebounds, 3.4 assists. Decent numbers for Zion. Skinny Zion has somewhat been a myth so far. I will say in his last 2 games, 31 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists against Chicago. 32 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists against New York. These were both in losses, but he was scoring pretty well. And yeah, they're on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're on a 5-game losing streak right now. They lost against Cleveland, 2 games against Phoenix, against New York, and against Chicago. So not going well for the Pelicans. Hopefully they break that streak against someone other than the Heat and then have to play the Heat. That's my hope. I'll quickly look at their schedule. They play the Blazers tomorrow. Perfect. Beat the Blazers, pals. I'm rooting for you guys. And then take it easy against the Heat. Get wrecked. That's the goal. I mean, this team really is like they're fighting for their lives because they don't have their pick because they traded it for Derek Queen, unprotected. Derek Queen has been really good. Jeremiah Fears, their other first-round pick, has also been pretty good. So they do have these good young players, but they're young. So there's stuff that comes with that. Jose Alvarado has been the best plus minus on their team, but that's still a minus 1.4. And that's primarily because of his defense and his intensity. He's a cool player. I like him a lot. I do. They do have some good pieces. They're just not a good team. And they've also had injuries. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe fully healthy Zion mixing into the roster can start getting them a little bit closer to winning games. Trey Murphy looks good for them. Jordan Poole is shooting 29.6% from 3 at 8.4 attempts a game. Yeah, not good. Not good. So I'm hoping on this next stretch against the Pistons, the Timberwolves, the Pels. I'm hoping for 2-1 for the Heat. 2 wins and a loss. I'll take that. We'll go with that. That's my hope here. I would absolutely love if one of those wins are against the Pistons. Would absolutely love that. But we will see. Random stuff. Just to note, the other night there was an injury to Wemby. Thankfully, it seems that it was not a major injury. He himself said that he expects to play on Friday. He says he doesn't know what they're expecting, the team. But point being, if he doesn't play Friday, that means he's fine. If he's expecting to play, he's okay. Very quickly, I do want to do just some quick year in review stuff. As we look at the standings, just to see where we're at going into the new year. The Pistons are still sitting at the top of the East. They're 2 games ahead of the Knicks, who are sitting in second place. The Celtics are still in third, which is crazy. No one would have guessed this. At least I definitely would have. Even the people who were high on the Celtics probably wouldn't have assumed they'd be in third in the East right now. The Raptors are in fourth, and then Magic fifth, 76ers sixth, Heat 7th, Cavs 8th, and then you have Bulls and Hawks in 9th and 10th. In terms of games back, I mean, everyone's pretty close past the Knicks. Celtics are 4.5 games back. The Heat, for instance, are 7 games back. So it's pretty tight. The Heat do have a chiller, a more easier schedule heading into the new year. So that is good for us. And just to mention this too, that when you remember that a lot can change throughout the season. I believe at this point in time last season, the Pacers had a negative win rate. So they were under 500. Now, we don't know if there's going to be a big shift like the Pacers, from a different team. But the point being that things change. There's a lot that can still happen as the rest of the year goes on. And then in the West, the Thunder are 29-5. They're clicking. 3 of those losses are to the Spurs. They are 4.5 games ahead of the Spurs, despite this, who are in second place, who are playing amazing. I think they had the best record in the NBA in December. This is a young team that has not even had Wemby for the full season and has had him on minutes restrictions for a lot of these games. There's a lot to be worried about if you're scared about Wemby taking over the league. The Nuggets are in third at 5.5 games back. Again, scary for them. Then you have the Rockets, the Lakers, the Wolves, the Suns, the Warriors. And then after that, I mean, Grizzlies, Trailblazers. It does get kind of weak to me in the West as well. It's not like you're kind of top heavy there. Just they have a stronger top than the East, but I don't think their middle is necessarily stronger in my opinion. This is based off of just some vibes and some listening around, So just wanted to take that check-in for a moment just to see where everyone is at. Then also to check in on the All-Star voting, which has started. We got our first callback from our first results from fans All-Star voting for the West and the East. Remember that the fans choose the starters. Well, mostly 50% of the fan vote is attributed to the starters, 25% players, 25% media. So fans weigh heavily on this. And some interesting things. Top five in the West: Luka, Jokic, Curry, then Shea, then Victor Wembanyama. After that, Anthony Edwards, Danny Alves, who's pretty high, top seven on this list. And the only other name I'll call out here in the West, LeBron James at 9. So we might get an all-star without LeBron James, because I don't know if he'll be voted in by the fans, it seems. And I don't know if like the players and the coaches, so for the reserves, it's based on just coaches. And I don't know if coaches are going to pick LeBron unless it's like an honorary thing. Could be our first time without LeBron in the All-Star game. He didn't even really want to play last year. He didn't play. He like last minute got out. It was a bit of a controversial thing. So they might hold him against that. Or maybe he just really doesn't want to go anymore. He's old. So I don't know. Interesting, just footnote as this will go on. And in the East, top of the fan voting, Giannis, Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Brunson, Cade Cunningham, Donovan Mitchell, and Jaylen Brown. Then it kind of falls off a cliff to Karl Anthony Towns at 7th. Um, yeah, sounds right to me in terms of the top of that list. The only person who I'm sad about is Norman Powell at 18th. Us Miami fans, we need to vote more. Norman Powell's all the way down there. I mean, the Heat haven't been playing that well. I mean, a little bit better recently, but before that, not that well. Hopefully we can get off a string of wins and Powell can continue to play well. I think he deserves it. I think if anyone from the Heat deserves it, it is Norman Powell. Also happy to see that LaMelo Ball is not leading fan voting like he has in the past. Yeah, I don't think LaMelo Ball deserves it. And then last but not least, Bleacher Report had these trade targets that they have for every team, or that they, are saying every team should have. And for the Heat, just wanted to look at it for funsies. They have on our list three for every team: Giannis, Zion, and Benedict Mathurin. Giannis, that's an obvious one. We don't have to talk too much about that. Whether or not that happens, yet to be seen. Starting to feel more and more like no, but again, we don't know. The Zion one is interesting to me. Again, I haven't watched that many Pelicans games. Can you blame me? But it would really depend on the price there, because I like our team, and the health is just a scary thing with Zion, right? You don't know what you're getting, and I don't know if it's worth that risk, what he does for us. So I wouldn't be opposed to it if the price is right, but I just really like a lot of the players we have, and I don't know. I'd rather hold out for, like, I'd rather just stay with this group and try to trade for Giannis, or hold out for the future. Just keep going, keep building, and save up assets in case another really, really good player becomes available. But I don't know about like taking a risk on Zion for what. I don't know. Man, I don't know. I haven't. I need to think more about this. I'll maybe do a little bit of a dive prior to next pod about what a Zion trade would look like. And then the Benedict Mathurin one. While I do think he's really good, and I shouted him out, I think on the last pod. Um, I don't know what the price would be. Again, I don't know what we would be trading for him and how much he would be worth. He is young. He's only 23. He's been on a finals. He's been a player in the finals. I think that he could fit into our offense, and I think he could grow with this team. But again, I'd have to see what the trade would be to have a full opinion on that. I don't hate it. And then he's not on this list, but I did want to just quickly mention that Jaw is not mentioned here. I don't even know if Jaw's on the trade market anymore. I feel like there hasn't been noise about that at all. He did just have an incredible game for the Grizzlies the other night. That people are saying, he looked young and athletic, spry again. Again, this is, it's one game. Yeah, he had 40 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. This was in an OT loss to the Philadelphia 76ers, but he had himself a good game. But he's had a stretch of somewhat average games prior to that. Yeah, it's like 21 points, 17, 12, 21, 7, 16, 11, 21. Yeah, I haven't watched these games, so maybe there's something unseen that he's doing that's wonderful. But I I was never that high on the Jaw trade, and I don't even think he's available for trade. So again, we'll see. I mean, if he starts showing a bunch of signs of athleticism and playing super well, I think that's even more reason why the Grizzlies wouldn't want to trade him. So I just don't think that one's happening, Heat fans, regardless of whether you want him or not. I wouldn't count on it. But that's all I have for the show here. In terms of fired up and burnt out, I will say I am fired up for the new year. It is January 1st. It is 2026. I'm just excited to be, carrying this into the new year and continuing this show with you all. So I fired up for that, incredibly fired up. And what am I burnt out by? Nothing, because it's the new year. So anything I was burnt out by doesn't exist. It is now. It is new. No burnt out for today. Just the Burnout Basketball Podcast. Thank you all for listening. Appreciate you.